So someone asked me this week if I was a qualified DiSC or MBTI practitioner. Can you imagine?
Are they alive?
Which, which I said is a bit like asking a surgeon if they were certified in crystal healing. Now, obviously, they meant it sincerely, of course, but I mean, I couldn't help laughing.
Well, I mean, you do tend to. I mean, but to be fair though, those tests really are everywhere. Companies swear by them, don't they? I once met a manager who insisted his team couldn't function without knowing who was blue and who was yellow and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like corporate Hogwarts houses, isn't it? You know, every office is divided into color-coded tribes.
Yes.
And I suppose what's fascinating is how these systems look psychological, but none of them came from psychologists.
Really? Not even the Myers-Briggs?
Especially not the Myers-Briggs. It was created by a mother-daughter pair in the 1940s. So Catherine Briggs and Isabel Myers, neither of whom had any formal training in psychology. So basically they based it on Carl Jung's early ideas about personality. Theories that Jung himself said shouldn't be used to classify people.
Wow.
Yet Myers and Briggs turned it into this personality sorter with 4 letters that allegedly define who you are forever.
Oh my God. So all those kind of ENTJ versus INFP conversations people have online, like
Built on sand. Built on sand. It assumes that you can divide billions of people all over the world. Think about that for a moment.
I mean, yeah.
Into 16 fixed boxes. And of course, the problem is that human personality doesn't work like that. It's not binary. You're not either introverted or extroverted. You exist somewhere on a spectrum. And that spectrum changes with context.
Right. Which makes sense, because even I, as an alleged introvert, have my social phases, you know?
Of course you do, but MBTI forces false choices. So it asks, do you prefer to plan or be spontaneous? You know, as if people don't do both, depending upon the situation.
Yes.
And it also fails, you know, the most basic test of scientific reliability. If you take it twice,
Yeah.
half the people get a new personality type within weeks.
Which is, I mean, that's extraordinary when you think how many companies are using it to decide who to hire or promote.
Yes, and you know, to be quite honest with you, it has the same predictive power as sorting staff by star sign. Only it's a little bit more expensive than that. That's how accurate it is.
Oh my goodness me. What about DiSC? That one's kind of been rebranded endlessly.
Endlessly. So this began with William Moulton Marston, who was an inventor and a comic book writer. So he created Wonder Woman.
Oh, big fan.
Yes. He also created the lie detector, and neither Wonder Woman nor the lie detector are admissible in court.
No.
But he had no background in psychometrics, but he did have an impressive sense of drama. So his idea was that, you know, people fall into four types: dominant, influential, steady, and conscientious. And modern versions still rely on those 4. So you take a questionnaire, and and the algorithm then decides what color you are. Of course, the problem is there's no validated science behind it. The categories are arbitrary, the retest reliability is poor, and the results are self-reported.
Right, so we're paying to have people tell us what they think they're like.
Precisely that. You know, it's a very efficient way to confirm your own biases. And because it comes with, you know, these glossy graphs and color wheels, it feels authoritative.
Right, and then there's insights, discovery. Oh no, it's insights, discovery actually, isn't it? And it's the same color idea, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah, it's essentially DiSC in a different wrapper. And they even use Jung's name again to lend it gravitas. And you'll notice quite a lot of these tests do that. You know, the business model is also incredibly clever. You sell training licenses to consultants who then sell workshops to companies. And everyone profits except the science.
Okay. What about StrengthsFinder? That sounds newer, more modern.
It's just a rebrand. That one comes from Gallup.
This is
And,
amazing.
yeah, the logic is that people should focus on their strengths rather than weaknesses, which is a lovely sentiment. But the test itself has no independent validation. It
Right.
assumes that strengths are fixed traits rather than skills developed over time, which of course we all know is the reality. And it's popular because it's flattering. No one ever leaves a StrengthsFinder workshop or any of these workshops feeling inadequate.
That's so true, because you never hear anyone saying, "Oh, my results were deeply disappointing."
Right?
They're never right.
It's nothing more than corporate fortune telling. That, you know, you've got the Enneagrams one that's even older actually, and even more mystical, believe it or not. So it's got these 9 personality types which are derived from a spiritual symbol, not
Oh
science.
my god.
Yeah. And it was revived in the 1970s during the height of, you know, the hippie spiritualist movement by a group of enthusiasts, none of whom were researchers. Yet people treat it, like all of them, as gospel.
Oh my goodness. So all of them, DiSC, MBTI, Insights. How did you say it? Because I've always said it Enneagram, but Enneagram.
Enneagram, yeah.
Okay. StrengthsFinder. These are all created by amateurs, not scientists in any way, shape, or form.
Right, exactly that. None meet the standards of psychological assessment. And, you know, valid tests, the kind that we use in clinical or occupational psychology, go through years of development and statistical analysis and peer review. And they must prove that they measure what they claim to measure,
Yeah.
but more importantly, that those results stay consistent over time. And these don't.
No, not at all. Because, like you said, 1 week apart, you can get a different thing. I'm sure I've been lots of
Right.
different letters on the whole Myers-Briggs thing before. But I want to know what makes them so addictive. Because, you know, even intelligent people who know better seem to enjoy them.
Yeah, because they're designed to be flattering and simple, aren't they? You know, the brain...
Right, got you.
The brain loves shortcuts. The brain loves a heuristic. The brain has never met a heuristic it didn't love. You know, so it prefers a tidy identity to messy complexity. And these tests hand you a narrative. You're a natural leader. You're empathetic. You're analytical. But that's the Barnum effect. You know, that's statements that are so vague that they fit anyone, yet specific enough to feel personal.
I mean, just like horoscopes.
Well, exactly like horoscopes. In fact, some behavioral psychologists, it's always the behavioral psychologists.
It's always the behaviorists. Always.
Compared MBTI feedback with horoscopes,
Right.
and participants rated both as equally accurate.
Oh dear, that's so the science just doesn't stack up, but the psychology of why we believe them does, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, they work because of confirmation bias.
Sure.
We remember the bits that feel true and we ignore what doesn't. And, you know, in teams, you also have to remember, they give people something to bond over. You know, calling yourself Sunshine Yellow or whatever the hell they use, or ENTJ, creates this sort of instant camaraderie, doesn't it? You know, it's social belonging, but it's masquerading as insight.
I mean, I can absolutely see how that would appeal in a business, in a group, because people crave that shared language. You know?
They do, but it's a false sense of understanding. Worse when companies use it for recruitment or promotion, because then it becomes unethical. And these tests, they cannot predict performance, teamwork, or leadership. There's just no two ways about it.
Right.
Using them is just like, you know, if you use them to hire people, you may as well just use a set of tarot cards. It's no different. No different.
That's strong.
Yeah, it is. You know, imagine rejecting a candidate because their type isn't a cultural fit. So all that does is reinforce bias, filters out diversity, and rewards conformity, doesn't it? So you end up hiring in your own image. not for competence. So you'll have people go, oh, well, I've got a team all of red, I need a green. And now you go out looking for this made-up, pseudoscientific bullshit green person?
I mean, it's a tribunal waiting to happen, but it but it explains why so many management teams kind of look the same, right? They're all the same.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, these tests basically institutionalize bias. They make subjective impressions look objective.
Yes.
And then they wrap it in charts and numbers. And managers think that they're being data driven when actually all they're doing is stereotyping.
I mean, yeah, and it's gross and intrusive too. I mean, so I suppose the question would be then, what's the legitimate alternative then? You know, how do real psychologists actually assess people?
Well, we start with validated models. So, like the Big Five, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and that's openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Mm-hmm. And the model is backed by decades of research and replicated across cultures.
Right.
Even then, it is not used to categorize people, but to describe tendencies that exist on a continuum. So it's a probabilistic, not deterministic.
Right. So no one's ever like a type.
No, there's no such thing as a type.
Right.
You're not a box, you're a range. So the Big Five acknowledges that personality interacts with context. Mm-hmm, of course it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's created by behavioral psychologists. So behavioral changes, you know, with incentives, mood, environment, whatever, you know, that all changes your behavior. Even the most extroverted person can feel withdrawn in a hostile setting. I mean, and vice versa.
Of course. I mean, this makes those coloured-coded charts kind of look rather childish in comparison, does it not?
Hugely childish. You know, they're comforting because they remove ambiguity. But real behavioural data actually introduces ambiguity.
Right.
Because ambiguity is reality.
Sure, of course it is.
You know, if you want truth, you have to tolerate mess.
Right, and managers very rarely like mess, do they?
No, they don't. They like control and predictability and the illusion of insight. I think that's why pseudoscience flourishes so much in corporate settings. It offers all three of those at once, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. You know, do you think that's why people call themselves kind of certified practitioners? Because it sounds authoritative.
Yeah. Of course it does, absolutely. I don't know who's certifying you, but I mean, yeah. I mean, it does sound authoritative because, you know, it's the performance of expertise.
Right.
It's 2 days of training, a PowerPoint and a certificate that has been printed out. And suddenly you're now interpreting personality profiles. Real psychometrics take years of studying and licensing. But I mean, as I said, people love a shortcut, don't they?
They definitely do, but I feel a bit bad for you. It must drive you absolutely mad.
Almost to distraction. Yes, almost to distraction. Because the tragedy is that it's not that people believe it, it's that they make decisions with it.
Yes, exactly.
Promotions, redundancies, team structures, all based on tools that have no predictive validity and are no better than horoscopes or tarot cards. You might as well open the Sun newspaper, read the read the horoscopes, and make your decision based on that.
Yes, I can see it. I can absolutely see it, and yet they do keep resurfacing.
And they will keep resurfacing because they're easy.
True.
Real psychology requires nuance, data, and context. These tests offer insight, clarity, and reassurance. You know, it's nothing more than behavioral fast food. It's like McDonald's for psychology, basically.
I mean, delicious, but nutritionally kind of bankrupt, really.
Totally bankrupt. You know, they they fill the appetite for understanding without nourishing it.
Oh,
Greg's,
that's so
basically.
good. Greg's again. Here we are. So when someone asks you again next time if you're a qualified MBTI practitioner, you will be saying.
I mean, I'm going to say I'm fully qualified in reality. I mean, it's less marketable, obviously, but you know, and it has terrible side effects like honesty and accuracy.
You could really you could put that on a mug, t-shirts, everything. Let's sell it all.
Yeah, absolutely. But I actually need to make sure it's color coded, don't I? They love a color in corporate.